All right. Thank you for joining us. I know it's a bit hectic. Thank you for coming. So we're going to do this a bit informal, freestyle. If anyone has a really timely question they want to ask, raise their hand. Let's try and create this a bit more interactive. So I'll do some short intros, and then we'll get right to it. So with me, we have Tal Teperberg. He's the co-CEO of Algoz, a Fingenum Group company. Algoz is a leading liquidity solutions provider in the crypto market. Before Algoz, Tal was the VP of Business Development for Sevron Technologies. It was in risk management for a long time, and he holds degrees from really cool schools. Dovrat, CEO of Algoz, Fingenum Group, again, leading liquidity provider. Prior to launching Algoz, he was software engineer at Google and Microsoft Tel Aviv, and also consultant to a lot of startups in Israel. I have Vanina, how exactly? Vanina, Chief CMO of AdEx Network, a protocol of trustless advertising. She's managed large digital marketing projects in the fintech and technology industries, and is an avid supporter of decentralization and ethical web practices. And last but not least, Eric Benz, 10 years of experience in financial technology. He's been delivered innovative SaaS systems for some of today's biggest institutions around payments, identity, and banking infrastructure. Eric is a real crypto OG. He's been in the space for, I think, almost 7, 8 years. He's been involved in a lot of blockchain fintech projects, investor, board director, and founder. All right, perfect. So let's start really quickly. Title of the panel is Surviving the Wild Wild West. Are we still in a crypto wild wild west? Is that a good thing? Do we even want to be in a fully regulated market? Does anyone here want to not be in the wild wild west? What do you guys think?
Well, I personally think that the crypto is still definitely in the wild wild west phase. It's winding down a little bit, and the best thing about it is that it is fully decentralized, and the worst thing about it is that it's fully decentralized. So I think that at one point we are going to fight for a little bit more centralization, and my personal opinion is that this is going to happen not so much because we need it. There's a lot of governance talks going on in the blockchain technology world, but because we need mass adoption, and I think that this is one of the ways to get there. We need to tell the general population, if you wish, that we are regulated, so you can trust us, like you can trust the central banks. Am I right?
It's hello, testing. Yes, it's really interesting when you say that we need this in order to get that, because that's been a cycle that we've had for so long, and yes, that cycle tends to repeat itself. However, when you look at the technology, and it has started out very nascent. It's still very nascent in some areas, obviously, but the maturation has taken place. And the interesting thing about the technology is that at its core, it's actually been designed by its nature to kind of move around regulation and to move around regulatory frameworks, to where the legacy regulation that we all know and have gone through doesn't apply to blockchain per se.
So we want to stay a wild west because that's inherently in the DNA of the technology?
I'm not saying to stay a wild west. I'm saying that you're going to continuously have amazing technology leveraging blockchain and tokenization in order to launch new services and feature sets that are going to continuously avoid the legacy KYC, the antiquated procedures that we already have that were established in 1969 or whatever it was. So we need to not only have innovative technology, but we also need to kind of move ahead, and we need to apply innovative financial controls or innovative identity means in order to actually know who the customer is, but in a more broad sense.
The thing is that, personally, I don't think that regulation necessarily has to kill innovation and technology. And one other thing that I see a lot of the crypto world is that we have a lot of great innovators, a lot of idealists, a lot of visionaries, but we have less and significantly less adoption, which is something that we are super missing in this field. I don't know if regulation is the way, I don't know what kind of regulation. I don't know how much regulation.
How about drugs? There was never regulation on that. Pretty big adoption. So
Yeah, and the best way to do that is obviously with the U.S. dollar. I mean, you see so many horror stories of people, and the great thing about blockchain, and a lot of people don't talk about this, but the one thing that blockchain provides is what we call real-time auditability. And with real-time auditability, you actually can track the beginning of a payment to the end of a payment, which technically means if you apply blockchain technology to the financial ecosystem we know today, then there's no point for AML. So you think about those components and you kind of start going, well, if there's no need for AML, if we have this great technology, why aren't we doing it? Why isn't every regulator from every jurisdiction in every part of the world running a node and being able to monitor and actually decide how this transaction gets settled or not?
Too far away.
Right, exactly. It's early. It's early.
No, but when you think about it, and we mentioned drugs, and we mentioned money.
I mentioned drugs.
Well, I stand behind you on that one. So, the thing is, there's so much money running through crypto every day, and it's, the volumes are getting larger and larger. And
Well,
regulators...
we've gone from an amoeba, a size of an amoeba, to the size of a flea now.
Well, it's a pretty
Still
great
impressive.
progress, I think. But the thing is, there's regulation involved, and why is that? You mentioned that, and you asked a really good question. Why aren't they running nodes? Well, my personal opinion is they're slow in adopting technology in general. Like, they're struggling with using what is ancient technology to us, let alone something groundbreaking and game-changing like blockchain. But they're very fast when it comes to collecting money and taxing. So I think this is why, even though I am
hence the need for customers to have a different solution, because no longer from a customer's mindset, and this has changed just in the past 5 years.
No taxation without representation.
Yeah. The bank is not the biggest building on the block with the white marble floor.
By the way,
and
whoever
columns.
didn't follow the news, Deutsche Bank is firing 14,000 employees.
18,000.
18, sorry.
And I know a few of
18,000.
them, and I've just hired a bunch of them. So thank God. Thank you, Deutsche Bank.
Well, I guess it boils down to the question: who's going to be faster? The regulator wanting our tax money, or the people wanting taxation without
All right.
representation?
You guys want to respond, or we're going to move on?
I would like to tackle this question from a different perspective. As a trading specialist, when I hear about Wild Wild West in the crypto, I don't think so much about the regulation and taxation. I think more about the regulation on trading, wash trading, pump and dumps, and when we are going to get rid of all of this. So, what I see in the
Can a
exchanges.
decentralized exchange have, let's say, a law against insider trading? I'm going to say, oh, I'm in Curacao. How are you going to?
What?
How can you do insider trading laws on a decentralized ledger?
Not even talking about insider traders now, talking about wash trading, talking about pump and dumps, talking about stuff that really hurts traders when they want to trade.
I'm getting really excited over here.
Yeah.
Front running, ramping up, all the
Yeah.
big name for the stuff.
And I can say that in this direction, we see a very nice progress here. We see that in the main pairs, in the main assets, we see less and less wash. We see that it's maybe because it's more difficult to pump Bitcoin now, it's way more difficult to do it than it was in 2016. But we still see a lot of these activities in the altcoins, which this is the main problem now.
All right, so that's sorry.
We feel that it's going to be a debating, and we see the regulator coming in, and I don't know what the banks are in this space, because we are hoping that their days are behind them, and now we see here next to us is the new banking financial entities. But it's going to be a fight between the anonymous protocols that will keep going on this direction without the KYC, without the regulation, will be going forward. On the parallel path, it's going to be the adoption.
The wonderful thing about the banks, and I'll be very positive here, as a customer myself and as a customer for every one of you, the banks have so much power, and the only power that they have is in their brand. Because we wake up every day, and you know what? I can trust that, my money's with Barclays, and if shit goes wrong, then I'm going to call them up, and they're going to sort it out. and I will pay 3% for that. Thank you very much. And that's true. And the only thing that these banks have going for them is the mere brand factor. Santander, HSBC.
And centralization, that you can call someone up and be
Yes,
like,
yes.
is my money still there?
But who, from an everyday customer perspective at this point in time, wants to actually deal with handling their keys on a paper wallet? If something gets lost, and then they can't even access their money. It's just too complicated sometimes.
But
anyway.
that's a UX problem that we need to solve on a technology level.
It's kind of the framework, but
Not necessarily UX, because in order to be decentralized, you need the people to store it by themselves. So
all right.
Next.
So follow up to what you guys said. Prices are going up, volume's going up. Does this run feel a bit more real than the last run, or is it just another run?
I know that you.
Eric's having a rough morning. So.
I know that you want to say.
I'll tell you.
You've seen a few runs. You've been here at $9, so yeah.
I've seen many runs, and I've also seen runs up and runs down. Let's just put it like that. And from that perspective, I'd say that this mirrors a lot of those similar runs. The price will go up, the price will go down, but at the end of the day,
one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin.
True. But at the end of the day, the difference here is that we don't have centralized authorities actually setting that price. So there is no actual stability per se with Bitcoin or any of the other decentralized crypto assets. People actually set that price. Demand sets that price. Activity sets that price. Or Chinese traders set that price.
Ding, 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 ding.
But at the end, thank you, Chinese traders, for certain wins and losses. But at the end of the day, people control the market now, especially where we're going. And that's the interesting component to Bitcoin. And whether it's 13,000 or 5,000 or 40,000, people are setting that price.
Okay, but you don't see it more real. Do you guys see it a bit more real?
We do see in this round that it's more professional, hype. The price can go up, the price can go down, but the way it structures, the volumes, the places that it's traded, it seems that it is more mature money going in, more people, even the traders, even the Chinese traders are more sophisticated, more professional. People understand more what they are doing, so it's good.
Instead of 1 month to do KYC for them, it's now like 1 week. So
maybe a few hours. I heard some companies that offer these solutions. So it's better, it's more professional, it's more exciting because it seemed more mature in the last, I don't know, few months. And,
I have to say that I tend to agree with your opinion. However, I think that however, I have to say that whenever we see a bull run, we try to convince ourselves, of course it's real because ABC. And in 2017, it was real. It was real because up until then,
no one actually,
No
even
one
in the
thought-
industry, didn't think it was real.
I tell you what
I
we all
convinced
said.
myself it was super real.
Yeah, I tell
I
you.
went on a spending spree. I was
Gonna be
traveling.
$50,000.
I thought I was invincible. I thought I was I just thought I was crypto Superman.
Last time it was the first time that everyone heard about it, and before that it was just us crypto geeks, and now everyone
so by
heard
the way,
about it.
just so you know,
so
most
it
Google,
has to go
most
high.
Google question of December 2017 was how to buy Ripple. Most Google question in the US February of the next year was how to sell Ripple. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all went through, being Bitcoin royalty to being Bitcoin poor afterwards.
I like to use the term Bitcoin peasants.
Well, I just call myself Bitcoin poor. Like, I'm not actually poor because I have the Bitcoin,
I'm,
but
I'm
I don't have the
potentially
money.
rich. Potentially.
Mentally peasant. Mentally peasant.
Do you think this? So we're going to talk a bit about alt or whatever, but you as a project here, so they're providers. You're a project. Do you see this run a bit more mature? Do you see projects maturing a bit?
I do, and I'll tell you why. And what I'm going to say is probably going to sound a little bit counterintuitive, but if you look at this run that's happening right now, you'll see that the major currencies, the more established ones, like Bitcoin, for example, are going up steady, while altcoins are going down sustainably.
Not
and
Doge.
yeah, I mean, for me,
Doge got into Binance. How
as
crazy
a
is that?
holder of a big bag of altcoins, this is not ideal, I'm gonna tell you. Like, I'm not gonna buy a boat this year, that is for sure. But it also makes sense to me, and it makes sense to because there's so many altcoins on the market right now that it's inevitable to consolidate at a certain point. We need to weave down the shit coins, excuse my French, from the actual useful
But it's
token.
happening with a lot of altcoins. You can see that.
So in
people-
general, that's a follow-up, and I'll let you guys talk about it. We see the market in the past few months, even on a half-daily basis, it's alts versus Bitcoin. When Bitcoin rises, most alts fall, and when Bitcoin's going down, alts are going up. Is that the trend now? Is it
I think
us
that one of the
versus-
main reasons for it is people escape from the altcoin to move fast and join the rail to join the Bitcoin journey. So this is an immediate effect that it has on the altcoins.
journey?
But that
They want it
wasn't-
for 10 hours. It's not a journey, you know.
Thank God I have the ability to press one button on my phone and change the market like that.
No chill, don't chill
Thank God,
right now.
you know?
No, but is it alts versus Bitcoin? Because we were
I think
always saying
so,
there's
yeah.
no deflation to Bitcoin. We're part of the ecosystem. Is actually this a competition to Bitcoin?
I think so. And again, that's my personal opinion here. But I think that the market has a limited spending power. It's not unlimited. So I think that a lot of we talked about that earlier. The average investor is evolving. They're educating themselves. They're making more sound decisions when it comes to their portfolios. So I think that it makes sense to move money around rather than just buy everything like it was back in 2017.
I think that altcoins, especially the project, even if they have great technology, because there is still not mass adoptions, and because it's not Bitcoin yet, need liquidity providers like us, need solutions, need assistance right now, because this ecosystem is not full enough with utility usage of the mass adoption one, even the great one, not the shit.
You're such a politician.
I see.
I know, but you need us.
It is true, though. It
But
is
it's
true because-
eventually a matter of adoption, because if an altcoin has a lot of adoption, then it doesn't matter what happens to the Bitcoin, the adoption should presumably continue. I mean, people should keep using it. People will not stop watching movies in a decentralized application because Bitcoin is up.
So a decentralized marketplace based in Europe that did a private sale in Korea, Singapore, and Japan that no one is going to use their taxi hailing app. How is usage going to be affecting the actual real volume of their token that they gave 100% pre-sale bonus to?
I'm not talking about the volumes. I'm talking about the valuation of the token. If people continue to buy and continue to act in this ecosystem that the token built, and it's an ecosystem with adoption, with a real
But
added
even the
value.
dApps you see coming out, they're using fiat. So they'll be because it's a fiat world. So let's say I'm a taxi hailing app and I'm blockchain. My UI will be $1. In the end, I'll have a change or whatever that will be converting it. But
Doesn't matter. They will be responsible for the fact that you will pay fiat and it will be buying the token.
That's
It doesn't
correct.
matter.
That's the best thing we do.
It
Okay,
is.
so-
but don't sell.
yeah. Do you guys see a connection between the success of an altcoin, volume and price, and the maturity of the project? Is it more a market making
No.
and PR thing?
Definitely, we see a lot of the connection between us. We see a project that you can take AdEx protocol, for example, that's been here a while ago, and it's already well established, well technology, well known. Still need the mass adoption, but you can see his presence, you can see his ability to contribute into the ecosystem, and we see it a lot. So.
I have to say that sometimes it can be really frustrating to the projects when they really try to do something good. They're really working on the project. They're working on the adoption. You can say mass adoption, but they're working on adoption.
And then boom.
And still the token doesn't go up. And it's really frustrating because us as the crypto traders community, we're all focused on where's the 10x. So no one wants a project to just go like this. We want the 10x.
That's one good thing. I don't hear 10x. If
Mine's
you're-
gone down to 3x.
Yeah. A year ago, when you talk to investors and funds, you're like, "What's your expectations?" They're like, "Oh, we want to do 10x on this project." And
Of course.
so I don't hear people saying 10x anymore, but maybe not.
And thank
in these
God for
countries.
that.
They go
I'll
down
take it.
to
Whatever
went down to
happened to
3x.
10x?
When moon. No,
When
but
license.
from a project perspective, I have this point of view that back in 2017 when we ICO'd and when we raised money, it wasn't enough for us to
You
tweet.
changed you said when we raised money.
Well, don't tell legal I
badger the
said
witness.
ICO. Don't tell legal I said the word ICO.
You caught yourself, though. I just wanted to commend you for that.
You
caught
had a
yourself.
TGE.
Yeah.
You had a TGE.
But when we did that back in 2017, it was enough for us to tweet, oh, we had really good coffee today, and the price of the token would go up immediately.
You had a decent PR agency, but
We did. I mean, you know, but that's not the case today, and that's actually good because, you know, we're regaining that sense of normalcy, and our supporters are now able to distinguish between
I do
actual
see that
news
we're not
and-
at a place where I would say the top 100 shitcoins can't change their price on a bogus headline. And that used to be a year and a half ago, a bogus headline of a semi-partnership on a Microsoft or whatever helped IOTA jump like crazy. But by the way, they never talked to Microsoft, but it didn't matter because someone made hundreds of millions of dollars that day.
I mean, back then,
me,
it was enough
unfortunately.
to find Vitalik Buterin at a conference, take a selfie with him, and put it on your Twitter, and the price of the token would go, and, you know, again, make a false claim of
I would just walk behind
partnership
people
and
at
stuff.
DevCon, and I would see people taking pictures with Vitalik, and I'd buy that token.
I
I'd just be
know.
walking around on my phone, and
Like,
buy.
Immediately, I know, but this is the way it works. That's why Vitalik doesn't take pictures anymore, by the way, I guess.
They
but
didn't ask him, you know, they just took a picture behind him.
he sees the camera, he's nowhere to be seen.
So what about stable coins? What I love about this space is everything takes like 3 months. STOs, it's gone. Stable coins, is that, so as traders, so why do we need all these stable coins? Okay, it's a mechanism for trading. I want to exit. Do we need things pegged by pegged by pegged by pegged?
I actually have an opinion on this, and I love stable coins, and I'll tell you why. Stable coins I love
Some
because
of my best friends are stable coins.
some of my best friends are stable coins, yeah. We need stable coins because of our mothers and, you know, the people who are not digitally savvy and not crypto savvy. This is what convinced them to jump on board. You tell them it's stable, it's always going to stay $1, and mom is like, sure, I'm going to get that.
But we
Are
talked
you
about
trying to
10x
trick
a
your
second
mom?
ago.
I mean, stable coins are not necessarily stable to the dollar, of course. They are stable to whatever asset they are backed on.
Correct. Libra.
We're gonna get to Libra in a second.
No,
Libra,
but
somebody said
here's
Libra.
the thing. There's the common misconception that, you know, you should get stable coins as an investment. Why would you do that? It makes no sense. I might as well invest in euros or, I don't know, buy a piece of gold and keep it under my
you try
pillow or
to-
something.
If you try to transfer fiat between people all over the world and you see the amount of
It's a nightmare.
trouble and the amount of time it takes, and someone
nightmare.
question you, why do you transfer this money?
Stablecoin
If you
is
do
a
it on
back end.
stablecoin,
It's a back end.
if you do it on stablecoin backed on this fiat that you wanted to transfer, it will take 30 minutes and you got it. You don't have to ask anything. It doesn't cost money to move hundreds of millions of dollars. It's amazing. I mean, this.
But it's also a license to print money. So aren't you afraid that we're like, oh, the dollar used to be pegged by gold or whatever? What's Tether
No,
pegged
no.
by? Come on.
It's just
So-
this
again-
is
it's
just
again,
another
it's brand.
model. Stable coins, no matter how you want to look at it or slice it, it seems like another model for fractional reserve crypto. All right? I mean, this is what Tether did.
Exactly.
This is what I won't name other companies because Tether was public, but you know you have a lot of these stable coin operators now just issuing these tokens saying, oh, it's backed by some refinery,
My mama.
blah blah blah, you know, in Arizona or Texas, and you know, trust us, we're gold miners. Oh yeah, so yes, it's stable. Yes, you know, the nanny and the grandma can get in very easily, you know, and it's probably going to be in their Coinbase account. But at the end of the day, it doesn't do anything, in my opinion, for the over. I mean, Ripple has a great payment system. Why would you need a stable coin to send money? I mean, I get the whole point of Libra, which we'll talk about in a sec. But you know, I still think that the overall infrastructure is what the problem is, as opposed to the actual utility
I
of
think
the
that
token.
I think that stablecoin backed by fiat can be a good bridge between the traditional and crypto world. I assume you don't like this bridge because you don't like the fiat world, but it is a
No, I
good
love
bridge.
the fiat world. I really
believe
do
in
love
the
the
fiat.
fiat world. I just want to be able to swap between the fiat and crypto world
This is
in a
right.
way that doesn't provide friction, doesn't provide cost, and even with the stable coin, there are costs involved with that process.
Yeah, but
There
way less
are,
than the
but
fiat.
that's the
don't
thing.
agree,
At
I
the end
don't
of the
agree.
day,
I'm sorry, I don't agree. But once you are in the exchanges, the centralized exchanges, all the exchanges, and you don't want the exposure, and you're not going back
It's
to
a
the
trading
euro,
tool. No, without a doubt, it's an important trading
great,
tool.
It's a great
But for
trading
mass
tools.
adoption,
It's for mass adoption after you're in the exchanges, but you need to make sure that the stable, you trust the guy because
But it's just a word. It's just a word. It's a.
I was
it's-
gonna
it's a-
say that.
It's a currency. It's just euro,
Exactly.
USD, GBP, and then they're calling it now. I mean,
no, but that's the thing,
brilliant.
Eric. I can
Brilliant
issue
marketing.
I can issue
Brilliant.
the shoe stable coin and tie it to the pair of shoes that I own, like the number of pair of shoes that I own. And what people are going to take away from it at the end of the day is stable.
and they are looking for these stables. After the Bitcoin moving 10% up, 10% down, said, okay, I will relax. I will buy my euro stable coin right now in the exchange. I'm not going back into the bank. I'm still in the crypto.
so question, I want to ask all of you, and so we'll start with the crypto OG and then to the more established people. They started Bitcoin because they hated banks, and now we want a custodian. We didn't like the banks becoming trading, whatever. Now we're doing triple derivatives on leveraging, and we didn't like pegged, or that we lost the amount of gold to dollar, but we're doing this now. Aren't we just replicating everything we hated in the previous world, but in a year and a half?
Welcome
Why did you have
to
to
the
go
real
there?
world. Welcome to the real world. No cycle is different from one another. Customer behavior is something that just doesn't change. And, money is a 2,000-year-old problem, which continuously, through these cycles, we try and make better, we try and make more efficient, we try and change. But at the end of the day, we're still people. And we all have to figure out that kind of happy medium to where we grow together and we
Greed is global.
But I
you
think
said
that
it, not me.
But are we doing it better? I think so in some ways. I think that we are
Better for who?
trying to do it better for everyone in this community. But of course,
Well,
some-
underbanked communities for once.
the idea
better
is
for
to build
them.
the communities. Don't you think that we do some?
I do. I really do think it's much better. The technology is much better. Giving people the ability to onboard into a financial ecosystem with better rails is great. But don't you get the feeling that all this is for someone else's gain, or there's like some other? I mean, governments are taking data. I mean, you talk about GDPR. You talk about all these elements around the know your identity and know your customer and all this stuff, and it's almost going to be like a data war.
Oh, we are in a state
are
of
in a-
data war
we
right
are in a
now.
data
I
war.
mean, I am in marketing. The amount of data that we collect about users, when I say we, I mean collectively, not AdEx. We do not do that. But the amount of data that companies and services that we use on a daily basis collect about users, and the ways that this data can be monetized and transferred into actual money. This is the actual money. This is my purchasing habits are the stable coin of my life, if you wish, at the end of the day, because this is what, and it doesn't matter if you monetize it in Bitcoin, it doesn't matter if you monetize it in Chinese yuans or whatever, it doesn't, it is what I do and how I purchase and how I behave that drives the economy. And I happen to fall in that unfortunate group of millennials who are now the main buying power on the market and are being targeted for that. So we are in a state, and that is actually the beauty of blockchain. I think that this is the good that we can bring with blockchain. We can have a really united front when it comes to the data war and the privacy.
Data war against who? Against Google? Against
Us
Facebook?
against everyone, pretty much. But yeah,
against-
Google and Facebook comes to mind.
Can we
I
talk
know.
about
All right, we
Libra
said
now?
Facebook.
Yes.
Let's talk Libra for a
Yay!
second. I want to ask my trading folks. Do you think that, so people say that price went up because of Libra now. Do you think that Facebook is going to be Libra, is going to be part of this ecosystem? Is it going to be on Binance? Is it going to be a shitcoin to Libra gateway? Or is this an alternate universe of crypto?
You will answer this one.
Oh, I said shitcoin, I'm sorry, altcoin projects. Sorry.
It's a really good question. I really don't know the answer for this, but I think that whether first of all, that we are going to see more money comes to the ecosystem. This is like obvious. What's going to happen with the money is super interesting. How much is it going to go to the crypto, to the Bitcoin, to other top 10 project, top 20, maybe to altcoin as well. Maybe Libra will start being a token by itself. Maybe we will see now tons of ecosystem running on Libra.
I've already received emails of people wanting to run an IEO on Libra.
Yeah, because when Facebook,
Yes, it's not technically
there is a new
possible.
accelerator on this already. I read yesterday. Yeah.
just as we saw tons of Facebook apps a few years ago, we might see lots of Libra apps now, and they will work on Libra. And
Is it, do you think, personal? Do you think it's I'll ask a follow-up. You know what? If Facebook says, oh, there's going to be a Chinese wall, we're doing our version, you're not part of the party. Is that going to be detrimental to this industry?
You can look at it in a couple different ways, but Libra for me, is really interesting because you have a token which is obviously it's a stable coin, but it's backed by assets as opposed to backed by a dollar.
It's actually backed by brands,
correct, yeah, brands.
which is an asset.
Correct, yeah. So at the end of the day, you have a completely different tokenomic model for Libra, and also you have a global connected community around that platform to where Libra immediately acts as an entry point or a means of communication and value transfer. When the internet came out, we only had information transfer, and that was mind-blowing for people. I mean, it really, really threw governments and regulators into a whirlwind. And now, I think with Libra, really has the opportunity to mass enable the value transfer.
But yes, go for it.
We think that Libra is going to be a game changer. I think that some of us are afraid about where it's going to get headed because it will change the trading point of view of what's happening on the crypto side. It will be some ecosystem in parallel that maybe will be too big to get into the regular exchanges and what we used to see our altcoins or big projects entering. So it will be probably exchange on itself that's been traded, but it will be also in other exchanges. So it will be a debate like USD or something. It will be interesting. It will be interesting if it's going to be stable or not. I'm not sure about it yet, but it's going to be interesting.
I want to ask you, so there's people, I think even someone's suing Facebook for this. So hypothetically, Libra's landing page would not be approved by Facebook ads if it was a different company. It says cryptocurrency, it says blockchain. I'm an ad person myself. Libra as a brand, if it wasn't Facebook's, would not be able to be on Facebook. Isn't that a huge, are people not talking about that enough? That they black labeled this industry a year and a half ago, doing maybe one of the biggest reasons of the big 2018 dump, and now they're a year later, their tokens out?
maybe
Well-
this is the reason they blocked it.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say that. I myself hate Facebook passionately
Dislike.
for their blatant disregard of user privacy and for the way that they collect data, and for the way that they try to go around GDPR and regulations around the world. And that's why I have mixed feelings.
But then they killed an
regarding-
industry. It's very different than taking your data and then killing an industry and then opening up their own token. That's
That's
But
nasty.
that's the thing. I mean, that what they did was, I think that was a PR stunt, to be honest, because they said we're banning crypto advertising and blockchain advertising. What they did was they banned a couple of keywords, one of them being ICO. They never actually banned advertising on blockchain as tech. They never banned advertising actual blockchain projects. They blocked ICOs and other types of activities that they deemed
exchanges as
scammy.
well. It's wider.
So yeah, there was always a workaround, and then for a platform that sophisticated, you switch your keyboard from Cyrillic from Latin to Cyrillic. You change one letter, your ad gets through. So
I like this.
at the end of the
News
day,
you can use.
they did not really. I think they didn't really want to ban advertising. They just wanted people to talk about it. Then they relaxed the regime of advertising, and they were like, yeah, okay, there's going to be new rules of advertising. We're going to let more projects advertise. And I think that this was all a long con for Libra. That's my personal opinion.
I was speaking with Mark actually the other day, and
No, you
and
weren't.
I was, and that's another story.
Yeah, okay.
So I was speaking with Mark the other day, and you know he told me in confidence that they actually have no intention to launch this project.
I would imagine so.
No, but seriously, on a separate note, the U.S. government says, and imagine getting this letter. I don't know if you actually saw a copy of that letter, but the U.S. government sends Mark and his gang, two other people,
To stop.
a cease and desist
Yeah.
letter in a nice way,
The
saying,
Congress sent a cease and desist.
yeah, you guys are threatening securities. You guys are that you're a threat to the U.S. dollar,
US dollar.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And,
They
you know,
invaded Iraq for
Which
less.
now makes you love them. I mean,
Exactly, exactly. I mean,
you
look,
don't know who to love and hate anymore.
at the end of the day, I mean, Libra or anything else, this is where it's going. This is
So it's okay.
this is the beginning.
Institutions.
This is an evolution. This is part of the evolution process, and you know you're going to have major brands and major platforms launch their own entry points and tokens as well. And
But what's the difference between this one and Deutsche Bank, for example? What's going to happen? What's the difference
the difference between what do you mean
between
by Deutsche Bank?
Facebook right now and Deutsche Bank? I don't know. Because
I mean, Facebook is not firing 18,000 people, that's for sure. And
It's a cycle. It's a cycle. So we thought that. So when social media started, we thought that we're replacing all the police. We just created new ones. With blockchain, we thought we're replacing all the ones, but a lot of pretty centralized powers right now. So it's another cycle, but now we're doing hyper cycles. So it's not going to take 3 generations. It's going to take 15, 20 years, I guess.
even less.
So let's talk about institutionals a bit. Everyone's talking about it. In 2018, we said they're coming in. They're coming in. Are they in? Are they afraid? What is an institutional for you guys? And that you guys deal with this daily. So
Institutional is not banks. It's not. It is.
so when we say institutionals for everyone, what do you consider institutionals?
We do see the hedge funds rising up. We found out. We spoke, I think, with, I'm guessing, more than 100 different Cayman-based hedge funds that are trying to launch from the 742 that are saying that they have one. It's getting there. It's getting, but it's still hard. Still hard to get the administration right. It's hard to get all the legal jumbo set up. So we do see family offices that are approaching us on the trading side. We do see hedge funds coming in. We are speaking with a lot of small banks that are very eager to get into the crypto space. Some of them stable against the pound, some against stable against whatever.
As a long thing or as a short thing, do you think? Without stating names, do they see this as, all right, this is the future, we have to peg ourselves, or let's make some money off this bull run?
I think it's both. I think it might be the future. Let's test it and move forward. I think that usually institutional, they are not like moving too fast. Whenever they're doing something, it takes them some time. They're looking forward. They try to build something for the future. However, it is a risk. So I guess that they're doing it slowly. They're testing it, and once they will see that it's okay.
But the volatility is one of the things that we had going for us. So in 2017, I met a guy from Barclays saying he's trying to get Barclays to put 0.5% of their management of their funds in crypto. And he said, look, if we lose half of that percent, we'll make it up somewhere else. If we 30 times that 0.5%, Barclays had the best year of their career. So if we become stable, aren't we boring for institutionals?
First of all, there are a lot of other means to become interesting for everyone. Like if we're talking about doing something like 10x or not doing only 3% a year, it can still be regulated.
We're not gonna be not interesting.
Yeah, you can have derivatives, you can have whatever you want. It can still be super interesting and regulated. One thing regarding institutional that I really like is the fact that what we talked before, that regular people, not us, will not have their own money based on a key that they printed and put in a pocket. And our mother will not buy something that today worth $1,000 and tomorrow will with 0. So the fact that these institutions get inside, it promises you that they are not aiming for the crypto society. They are looking for mass adoption, how we can make it easier for everyone to get in, to interact, to work with it, to get out, which is also important. And this is what we are looking for. I hope that we'll see a lot of it and will increase adoption and usability of all the projects.
All right, so that's a great, everyone has their last 20, 30 seconds of what they hope to see, believe to see, what their State of the Union. Take it away.
Well, I personally hope to see a little less altcoins on the market that have little to no use. AdEx excluded, of course. And I hope to see a little bit more development on the technology plane. I hope to see people more interested in the underlying tech rather than the volatility of altcoin X or altcoin Y or whatever.
I would like to see more people in the crypto world. As many people, more usability. It should be more comfortable. So many great products and so many awesome products and visionaries in this industry. Just waiting for the people to get in.
I'm just happy that more mature, either projects, exchanges, whatever, are in this space, because we need guidance and assistance to bring everybody in a mature way. And this is our role. This is in every project, every way to become more mature.
I want to see more education. There's just not enough information that's just really easy to capture for the everyday users and even traders or incoming traders, or there's not enough information. And the information that you do see is still in random YouTube channels that you just can't bear to watch after a long day at work. And so, yeah, I think a much better source of education. And also, I really want to see more innovation and less regulation. I'm not saying no regulation, and I'm not trying to avoid it, but what I am trying to say is that, technology, especially with the technology we have now, deserves to go through its innovative cycles. And it does not deserve to be restricted from having regulatory friction put in its place. So, in my opinion, innovation is severely being stifled by regulation, and I would like to see a little more innovative regulatory measures and practices put into play so that this technology can really grow and develop to where it needs to be. Because without that, and with more regulatory friction in place, it's going to be a much more difficult process, and we're going to lose the true essence of what blockchain really is about.
Cool. I'll give mine as well. For me, it's public sentiment. When I left the startup world, working at Wix or whatever, and going to do crypto, my parents thought I was literally trying to sell drugs. And I always say this, I talked to one of my biggest competition in the States. We had lunch in New York, and we both agreed that we're not competing with each other. Our competition is public sentiment. So that's what I'd love. I'd love for people not to see this as a huge speculative scam, and I think that public sentiment should improve, and we should do that together. Thank you very much, and our panelists are staying here for a few questions, and have a great conference.